young man who was shopping only to have Shaquille O'Neal step in and pay for it.
In a busy jewelry store where shiny gemstones sparkled and people shopped for special moments, a young boy nervously held a handful of wrinkled bills. His eyes moved quickly between the sparkling displays, determined to find the best gift for his mom. As he figured out what his little savings could buy, the door opened and Big Shaq, the NBA legend, walked in.
Shaq happened to be shopping when he overheard Dalton Davis discussing payment options. Former basketball great handed over his credit card.
What happened next left the boy surprised and in tears. The gift of a heart. 9-year-old Jones had been planning this moment for what felt like ages. For months, he had been saving every bit of change he could find. He skipped buying snacks at school, even on days when the smell of vending machine treats was hard to ignore. Every coin was saved for one purpose: to buy his mom the perfect birthday gift. Jones had already put a lot of effort into making her a colorful, hand-drawn card in art class, but he wanted to give her more, something real and special, something that would show her just how much she meant to him. Today was the day. He had finally saved enough money and was ready to find the perfect surprise. With his pocket full of coins and wrinkled bills, Jones took a deep breath and stepped into the jewelry store. As soon as he opened the glass door, he was met with a breathtaking sight. The room sparkled with rows of necklaces, bracelets, and rings, all shining brightly under the lights. Jones's heart filled with excitement. This was it, the place where he would find something amazing for his mom. "Hello there, young man," said the store clerk, a kind-looking man with a warm smile. Jones smiled back shyly, his small hand gripping the money in his pocket. Slowly, he walked up to one of the counters where a simple silver bracelet caught his eye. It was plain but lovely, and he could already imagine it on his mom's wrist. "How much is that one?" Jones asked, pointing at the bracelet. His voice was filled with hope, but there was also a touch of nervousness. The clerk, a man in his 50s with kind eyes, looked at the price tag and then turned back to Jones. He watched as the boy excitedly pulled out his pocket money, a mix of crumpled bills and loose coins. Jones's small hands carefully placed the money on the counter. The clerk began counting it, his fingers gently sorting through the coins. When he finished, he looked at Jones with a soft expression. "I'm afraid this bracelet costs a little more than what you have here," he said kindly, pushing Jones's money back toward him. Jones's shoulders slumped, and for a moment his face fell. He stared at the silver bracelet, thinking about how much his mom would have loved it. "Is there maybe something smaller? Something else I can afford?" he asked quietly, his voice still filled with hope. The clerk smiled at Jones's determination. "You've got a big heart, young man," he said kindly, "but jewelry can be a bit expensive." Jones nodded slowly, trying to hide his disappointment. His eyes wandered back to the glittering displays, searching for something, anything, that might still fit within his small budget. The clerk stood still for a moment, watching the boy. He couldn't help but feel a deep sympathy for him. The child had entered with so much hope and excitement, holding onto a dream that seemed so big and full of promise. But now he was about to walk away, his hands empty, his dreams unfulfilled. It was as though the weight of the boy's disappointment hung in the air, leaving the clerk with a quiet sadness for what might have been. But what happened next is more shocking. Big Shaq's surprise entrance. When the boy realized he didn't have enough money to buy the bracelet, he started to prepare himself to leave. But just as he was about to go, something unexpected happened. Big Shaq walked in, and his presence left everyone to tears. Shaq's eyes scanned the store, and when his gaze landed on the boy, he noticed how he kept looking longingly at the bracelets with a sad yet hopeful expression. "Hey there," Shaq greeted the clerk casually, his attention shifting between the clerk and Jones. "I'm here to pick something up for my friend." The clerk nodded, smiling as he responded, "Of course, Mr. Shaq. We have it ready for you." He pointed to a small, beautifully wrapped box sitting behind the counter. A lovely bracelet, just as requested. Shaq's gaze fell on the tiny package meant for Winnie Park. She wasn't just any recipient. She was the president and chief operating officer of Forever 21. Her role was massive, responsible for everything in the company's daily operations and shaping its long-term strategy. Winnie had been playing an essential role in guiding the company through every major achievement and milestone. Big smiled as he thought about how much Winnie had become a key part of Forever 21. She wasn't just an important person there. She was a source of motivation for everyone, including him. The bracelet he had bought for her wasn't just a birthday gift. It was a way of showing how much he appreciated her hard work and incredible impact on the company's success. As the store clerk continued to wrap the gift, Big's attention shifted to the young boy standing beside him. He looked down at Jones, his face thoughtful yet gentle. "So, you're here to get something for your mom, huh?" Big asked. Jones nodded, holding a small paper bag with his mom's bracelet inside. "Yeah," he said, his voice a little proud. "I've been saving up for months, skipping lunch at school sometimes, even though it made me kinda hungry." He smiled shyly. "She's the best mom ever. She does so much for me and my little brother, but I don't have enough to get her everything I want." His eyes dropped to the small bag, the hope in his expression fading a little. Big's heart softened as he gazed at Jones. "That's kind of you, Jones. Not a lot of kids think about that kind of stuff." Jones's face brightened with pride. "I even made her a birthday card. My teacher helped me with the glitter and everything." He paused, then spoke quietly, almost nervously. "But I still wish I had more to give her. She deserves it." Shaq's eyes became distant for a moment, a wave of memories washing over him. "I know exactly how you feel," he said, his voice soft but strong. He glanced at the bracelet he had bought for Winnie, reflecting on his past. "When I was your age, I wanted to do the same thing for my mom. She was my hero, always working so hard to keep things together after my parents split up. We didn't have much, but I kept thinking, one day I'll buy her whatever she wants. I couldn't wait to grow up and make enough money to spoil her." Jones's eyes widened. "Really? You didn't have money either?" Big chuckled lightly. "Not even close. Things were tough back then. But I think that made me appreciate her even more. She was strong, and she taught me never to give up." Jones nodded thoughtfully. "My mom's like that too," he said, his voice quiet with understanding. "She's always so tired because she works a lot. She always worries about whether we're okay. I thought, maybe if I got her something nice, she'd feel happier, you know? Like she's special." Big looked at Jones, seeing a reflection of his younger self in the boy's hopeful eyes. His heart ached for him, remembering how much he had wanted to make his mom feel special too. She had always been his constant, his biggest supporter, even when life wasn't easy. And now, years later, he could buy her anything she wanted, but he still treasured those moments when a simple act of love could bring her the greatest happiness. "That's amazing of you, Jones," Big said, his voice full of warmth. "It's rare to see someone your age understand that, but you do." Jones shrugged, a little embarrassed but pleased by the compliment. "I guess I just know how much she does for us. I just wanted to show her I appreciate it." Big nodded gently, his eyes soft. "Sometimes it's the little things that mean the most, you know? Even if it's not fancy, the thought and effort you put into it is what counts. And believe me, your mom will see that." Simple act of kindness. The boy smiled happily, but his eyes once again drifted over to the jewelry display. "I just wish I could do more," he said quietly. "She deserves more than just a card." The store clerk, who had been finishing up Big's purchase, overheard and looked at them, clearly touched by their conversation. Big stopped for a moment, watching Jones with a thoughtful look. He admired the boy's big heart. Jones understood the importance of hard work and sacrifice, something Big knew very well. He saw that same spark in the boy, the same drive he had felt as a child. It was rare, especially for someone so young. "You know what?" Big said after a moment, his voice casual, though his mind was already coming up with an idea. "I know how much you want to make this birthday special for your mom. Maybe I can help you out." Jones looked up at him, eyes wide with a mix of hope and surprise. "Really?" he asked, his voice filled with wonder. "You do that?" Big smiled gently, nodding. "Of course. Moms deserve to feel like they're the most important person in the world, don't they? Let's make sure this is a birthday she'll never forget." Jones's face lit up with excitement, but there was still a hint of uncertainty. "You said you could help me. How?" he asked, genuinely curious. Big Shaq looked over at the counter where the bracelet was on display and smiled softly. "What I mean is, I can help cover the rest of the cost for your mom's gift. You've already saved up a lot on your own, but I can pitch in the rest so you don't have to worry about it." Jones's eyes grew even wider. "Really? You'd do that for me?" "Absolutely," Big said with a warm smile. "You've already done the hard part, saving up and coming all this way with such a thoughtful gift in mind. Now let's make sure you can walk out of here with it." Jones eagerly pointed to the thin silver bracelet he had been looking at since entering the store. "That one. I know she'll love it," he said, his face bright with excitement. Turning to Big, he added with a shy smile, "Thank you. I didn't think anyone would help me buy it." Big smiled kindly and nodded at the store clerk. "We'll take this bracelet, please," he said. "And could you wrap it up nicely?" The clerk smiled and replied, "Of course, sir," as he carefully picked up the bracelet. With a smooth motion, he reached under the counter and pulled out a variety of decorative wrapping papers. Spreading them out for Jones to choose from, he asked, "Which one would you like, young man?" Jones's eyes looked over the colors, finally choosing a simple white sheet. "Can we use that one?" he asked, holding it up to show Big. "I have some pink paper at home, and I was thinking of adding it on top to match my card." Big grinned, nodding in agreement. "White's a great choice," he said. "It'll look good with the pink you have at home." The clerk began wrapping the bracelet, his hands moving carefully as he folded the white paper around the box. He tucked in the edges neatly and finished it off with a tied bow. Big watched Jones, who stood there practically jumping with excitement, his eyes full of hope. As the clerk finished wrapping the bracelet in the fresh white paper, Big slipped his hand into his pocket and pulled out his wallet. He took out a smooth black card and handed it to the clerk, who took it with a polite nod and processed the payment quickly. Once the transaction was complete, Big turned back to Jones, who was still eagerly watching. With a warm smile, he handed the boy his crumpled bills and coins. "Here you go," Big said, placing the money back into Jones's small hands, the warmth of the moment reflected in his smile. Jones looked up, his face filled with confusion as he tried to understand. "But shouldn't I just add this to what I already paid? I mean, I wanted to help cover some of it." Big let out a soft chuckle, shaking his head. "I have a different idea. How about you use this money to buy your mom some flowers on your way home? I bet she'd love that." Jones's eyes brightened, a huge smile spreading across his face. "Really? Flowers and a bracelet? That would be amazing. She loves flowers so much." Big nodded, his face warm with a kind smile. "Exactly. A beautiful bracelet and a bouquet of her favorite flowers. Now that sounds like the perfect birthday surprise, don't you think?" Jones couldn't hide his excitement. "This is going to be the best birthday she's ever had. Thank you so much." Big placed a gentle hand on Jones's shoulder. "You're a good kid, Jones. Your mom's lucky to have you. Just remember to give her a big hug and tell her how much you love her." "I will," Jones promised, gripping the money tightly in his hand. "Thank you again. Oh, I didn't catch your name." Big smiled, a twinkle in his eye. "Just a friend who wanted to help take care of you." With that, he turned and walked toward the door, leaving Jones standing there, his heart full of gratitude. Jones's chance meeting with Big Shaq. As Jones stepped out of the store, he couldn't help but watch the man leave, a feeling of wonder and thanks filling his heart. The experience was still fresh in his mind, and it felt almost unreal. "Do you know who that was, kiddo?" the clerk asked, raising his eyebrows with a curious smile. Jones looked up, still trying to understand everything that had just happened. "No, just a nice guy who helped me pick out my mom's gift," he said with a grin, still a little confused. The clerk chuckled and shook his head. That wasn't just any nice guy, kiddo. That was Big Shaq. Jones's eyes grew wide. He repeated the name slowly, trying to wrap his mind around it. Big Shaq? Yep, the clerk nodded. The guy who makes those stunning moves and shots in the NBA. You've probably seen them around. Jones's mouth dropped open as he realized what he had just learned. Wait, my friends at school talk about it all the time. They think they're the coolest moves ever, he exclaimed, his excitement showing. But I didn't know what he looked like. My mom doesn't let me watch much TV. The clerk smiled knowingly. That's probably for the best. Less TV, more time for other things. But now, you know exactly what he looks like, and he's the one who just made your day. Jones nodded, still taking in the fact that he'd just met someone his friends admired so much. Wow, wait until I tell my friends. They won't believe me. The clerk grinned, feeling proud as he watched Jones's happiness. It was a small, simple moment, but it was special. Turning back to the counter, the clerk picked up a small white box containing the bracelet. He handed it over to Jones carefully, treating it like it was something important. Here you go, he said warmly. Jones took the box gently, holding it with both hands as if it might break. Even though the bracelet was light, it felt heavier in his hands, carrying all his hopes, love for his mom, and the kindness of a stranger. Thank you, he said quietly, his voice full of true gratitude. The clerk smiled and nodded. You're very welcome, Jones. And don't forget your promise. Get some flowers for your mom on the way home. I'm guessing she likes pink ones. Jones's face lit up with excitement. Yes, I was thinking of getting her pink roses. Pink roses, huh? Good choice, the clerk said with approval. Sounds like you've got this birthday surprise planned just right. Jones looked back down at the little white box, holding it closer to his chest. She's going to be so surprised, he whispered, almost to himself. The clerk gave him a final, encouraging smile. I think she's going to feel very lucky to have a son like you. And don't forget to give her a big hug, too. Jones's smile grew wider. I will. Thanks again for helping me. He looked at the box one more time, took a deep breath, and straightened his shoulders. With the small bag in one hand and his change safely tucked into his pocket, he walked toward the door. The bell jingled as he stepped outside, and the clerk watched him go, a warm feeling spreading through his chest. He imagined the surprise and happiness that would await Jones's mom when he got home. If you were Jones, how do you think you would feel meeting someone famous like Big Shaq? Let us know your answer in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe.